Hi, hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to My Art, My Wounds from veteran to art therapist with me, Nikki Woods. Today, I just have another very special guest speaker for you guys before the holidays get started. And by the way, happy holidays. Um, I know most people are not traveling, due to what's going on. But if you are traveling to go see your family, be safe, and I wish you all the best for the holidays and New Year. I know just like myself, I am ready for 2021. Although 2020 has not been terrible for me. It's been 50-50. I do have a lot to be thankful for. So I just want to say, hopefully, you guys have seen the advantages of 2020 and have taken advantage of certain opportunities and trying to see the brighter side of all of the things that's going on, but also recognizing all the messed up crap that's been going on as well. But nevertheless, I have a very special guest. I'm going to always say I have a very special guest because all of them are going to be very special because one, they're veterans and we are very special, of course. Two, I personally know most of these speakers. And if I don't know some of these speakers, I know they're amazing no matter what. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to an amazing Fulbright Colonel. He's still in the military as we speak. I had the pleasure of working, serving underneath his command in Fort Leonard Wood. He's so amazing. He don't even know this, but he has definitely inspired me when it came to my leadership skills. He exemplifies exactly what a leader is. He was up with us 4 o'clock in the morning, marching with the soldiers. When it came to anything you needed, far as assistance in the unit, he was always there. Very stern, but also just overall a great leader. And I taken a lot of traits from him. And I hold him at such a high level because he is just the greatest leader, one of the greatest leaders that I had the pleasure of serving with. And I know he's going to further his career. Now he's promoted from when I first met him. When I first met him, he was lieutenant colonel. Now, for those of you who may not know, these rank structures are very high. They are officers. They're in charge usually of a brigade, a battalion level, soldiers consisting of either 300, 600 personnel, equipment, and things like that. So I want him to tell you all about his military career as much as he would like to share. And yeah, without further ado, welcome Colonel Shane Gries. And also, we'll be talking about his amazing book that he's working on. He got back into the arts a bit, which I'm so excited to hear about. So I hope you guys are ready. Hold on to your seats. Here we go, Colonel Gries.
See.
Hey, hi.
Okay, there we go.
Doing, sir? Good afternoon.
Yeah, great. Glad to be here on the channel. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited as well. I did just informally introduced you previously before coming in, but of course, I would like you to take it away as well. And before we get started into diving into about you and things like that, first, I just want to do a check-in and make sure you're good to go for today. You're ready, you're pumped up, you're excited.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
All right, let's go. Where are you actually right now? What's your time zone?
I'm Eastern Standard Time right now.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
in the Washington, D.C. area for a
okay.
little training and then heading back down to Australia here pretty soon.
Oh, nice. Okay, we have to get all into that later. All right, guys. So again, this is Shane Gries, also known as Colonel Gries, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
You're full bird right now, right?
That's right. Yep.
All right. And I did mention that when I first met you, you were a colonel, but you'll see that I said that you are the reason why I possess a lot of my leadership traits. You just don't know that because you really inspired me a lot. And working with you at Fort Leonard Wood was absolutely amazing. So before we even dive into that part, I want you to introduce yourself, tell everyone where you're from, where you're originally from, also along with, you know, your military experience as far as some of the duty stations you were at or the places you've at, your favorite places you were stationed, and also what made you join the military.
Wow, that's just a couple of little things, eh? Okay. Um, no, so I'm Shane Gries, and I joined the Army back in 1989 as a 17-year-old enlisted man. I joined the Michigan Army National Guard back then, and I was still a junior in high school.
Mhm.
So I did basic training between my junior and senior year during the summer break.
Wow. Okay.
And, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a means for me to help pay for college
Okay.
because I come from a blue collar background. I was the first person in my family to go to college. So, you know, it was pretty special and it was a great opportunity.
Mhm.
And oh, by the way, my dad said, son, you're going to college and you're going to pay for it. So you're joining the service. So
So
kind of made it.
he actually said, like, look, you got to get up out of here. You better figure it out some way or another.
Oh, yeah. The old man didn't mess around. No.
Okay, so what about your mom? How did your mom feel about you going to the military? Was she scared, if any, you know, any doubts? Mhm.
Yeah, I think so. I think she was a little worried about sending her teenage son off to the army, but you know, it worked out fine, obviously.
You're still in. You're still lacing up those boots.
Yeah, 31 years later, I'm still hanging around.
31, sir? I didn't even
Yeah,
know. Oh, wow,
yeah,
guys, 31 years. First of all,
yeah,
and still, you know, still pushing through and still, as we speak, in training. So
yeah,
I love
right.
it. Do you have any other siblings? Were you the only child?
So no, I have a brother. He's also a colonel, but he's
Okay.
in the Air Force,
Okay.
and he's a pilot. So he's
Nice.
I was the infantryman, and he became the pilot. So he's
Good.
got the cooler job, I
You know, the Air Force is a little spoiled too. So, you know, I'm pretty sure he's reaping all of those benefits as well.
think. Yeah. No, he's doing great. Everybody is very, very proud of him.
That's good.
Uh,
And he's older,
so,
younger?
oh, he's my younger brother.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's about 3 years younger than I am. So,
Okay. Awesome. And where did you guys grow up? Or where are you originally from? I don't think I knew that.
we're originally from northern Michigan,
Okay.
and we grew up in the woods basically,
Mhm.
and you know, we moved around a little bit growing up. You know, Dad had to go find work from place to place,
Mhm.
so didn't spend my whole childhood in Michigan. We
Okay.
moved around, but we ended up back there when I was graduating high school and went to college, and
Mhm.
um, like I said, I joined the service to get some college money, and then I ended up going to college and then getting into ROTC, and then got a commission as an officer and went on active duty. Um, and then, much to my father's chagrin, I became an infantryman. He did not want me to go into the infantry, but
Oh,
I did it anyway because I had what they call the hua bug, and I wanted to go do exciting things, and so that's what I did.
so you came in as an officer with that 4 years of college, or did you enlist? Did you come in?
So I did the 4 years
Is
enlisted
it the green and okay? You did the 4 years enlisted. Okay,
in the National Guard. So I was going to college while I was serving as a enlisted soldier.
nice.
Made the rank at E5 by the time I was 20. It was pretty exciting.
Yes, a
Um,
lot of responsibility too at a young age. That I'm pretty sure you were handling well, as I can see you possess so much of leadership qualities, but it looks natural for you. Like it looks like you were always a leader in some shape or form, or I could be completely wrong.
I had great teachers, great
Okay.
mentors along the way. It's been a life of learning, you know, it's
Mhm.
never stopped. And I had to learn leadership because, you know, I came, you know, from the civilian world and didn't know anything about it. And I had to be taught. And I had some great folks that mentored me along the way. So
So for
worked
those,
out very well.
what's that?
Worked out very well.
For those 4 years, were you in Michigan the entire time, or?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sure was. I was stationed out at Camp Grayling, Michigan. I
Okay.
don't know if anybody's familiar with it. It's a really, really big installation that's still in use today.
Nice. And then, so after once you finish that 4 years of college, obtaining your bachelor's in what exactly, if you don't mind?
Uh, I have a history degree.
Okay.
That's my undergraduate work is in history, and of course, I got a master's many years later. But that was night school when I was a married father of two. Life got a little more complicated and busy, and
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like another challenge that you had to take on top of you were an officer at that time.
yes, yeah, yeah, that's right.
A lot.
Um,
Let's talk about. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say most
Just
people.
pouring a little libation.
Oh yes, cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. What are you drinking? What is that? Some good scotch?
It's Scotch. It's the old standby.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, I have to tell this story really quick, really
Go
quick.
ahead.
So, guys, Colonel Gries is the first person that one introduced me to scotch and bourbons and all that because we had a dining in um back in Fort Leonard, and it was my first dining in, and let me say I grew so much hair on my chest at this dining in. And for those of you who are not familiar with the dining in, basically it's the pretty much an event where you have all your leaderships and soldiers come. Usually soldiers are not welcome, right? Just leaders, NCOs.
It's typically NCOs and officers. That's right.
NCOs and officers. So pretty much it consists of, Colonel Greaves at the top as the commander. Then you have your sergeant majors of the units to the left and to the right. And you have something called a grog. And in this grog, it's just so much stuff. every single alcohol you probably never heard of, along with other craziness like usually things metaphorically simplifying what, say for instance, blood of tears, or things like that. Sir, you can help me out with the meaning as
Sure.
well.
Well, the tradition of the dining in actually goes back to the British. The British have had that tradition for many centuries, and we sort of adopted it. And it's very similar. It's structured and almost identically.
Mhm.
And the grog bowl, you put in the different alcohols from different military campaigns that your armies fought in over the years, and that's where the tradition comes from. Um, so, for example, from World War II, we would put in schnapps for fighting in Germany.
Mm,
For fighting in the Korean War, we would put in soju from fighting in the Korean Peninsula,
mm.
and things like that. Of course, once you mix all of it in, and people will put in sand from Desert Storm and throw in a bucket of sand in the grog, and all kinds of silliness. And of course, everybody has to drink some, and that's where the event gets a little silly. But they're meant to be fun, and they're meant to be team building. And I think, and the reason I made it a point to hold events like that when I was a battalion commander is because a lot of the junior leaders had never seen these things before. And this is tradition, and I'm big on tradition. And I think it's really, really important that we pass these down to our leaders that are coming up.
Absolutely.
So they need to be exposed to it. They need to learn about it, and hopefully they will carry on those traditions.
Oh yeah, yeah. Definitely one for the books for me. Along with the breakfast. What was the breakfast called that we did where I was the speaker for each time the soldiers graduated? That was not the dine. It was sort of like the dining in, but we called it something else.
Yeah, that was so. For those of you out there who don't know, our battalion was a basic training battalion, and we would host these breakfasts for the families on Family Day, right before their graduation. And we structured it in a similar manner to a dining in or a dining out, which is a formal dinner, except we had breakfast instead. And then we would have guest speakers. There's no grog bowl at any of
Nope,
those.
no grog bowl for the families that are
No, 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 no. We're very, very, very serious, very professional.
Yes.
Not that the dining in isn't professional, but it's borderline sometimes. Um, but we would do this for the families, and it was really important, and the families felt involved. They got to see their young soldiers for the first time in their dress uniforms. And then it's really the Army is a family.
Mhm.
And that was one of our ways of bringing these new families into the fold, introducing them to some of our, traditions, and letting them know what their loved one, is becoming a part of.
Yeah.
But yeah, the breakfasts were really neat.
Yeah, those were one of my favorite things that you incorporated within the unit as well, because I find it to be extremely important for the families to have that little piece. Because when I came up in basic training, we didn't have anything like that, not even close. We had family day, and that just consisted of a day where we go out to the PX and shop around the PX the whole day, and eat the food in the food court, and that's about
Right.
it. Everybody goes their separate ways after that to AIT. So doing this, I definitely felt like it built camaraderie along with the civilians and the families, and the soldiers as well. So sorry. Um, the the chance for, I know the greatest things I recall from those breakfasts are when the family meets the drill sergeant, like, oh, you're the one, you're sergeant, drill sergeant so and so, my child
Right.
told me about you. Mostly good things, and they pretty much appreciate that new soldier. You used to always say this one thing in your speech that stood out to me, and I think it was in the form of like, we give you back your child better than when they came to you, to us. It was
Yeah.
something like that. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I remember. It was my favorite shtick. Um, so yeah, I would give a graduation speech every time, and I always ended it the same way. I'd say, in the Army, we have a tradition where if we draw a piece of equipment or a training area, we'll use it for a bit of time, and then we have to return it so that other units can use the training area or a building or a piece of equipment. But we always give it back better than we found it. And I would always say to the parents, ladies and gentlemen, we give you back your loved ones better than we found them.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. And yeah, you would definitely end every speech with that. And every time it never got old. I'm like, I waited for it every time, waited for it, because it was just such a well put together one thing to say, but also just wrapping the context of basic training. Some people don't understand basic training. They just see, oh, it's so hard, or oh, you're getting yelled at, and sometimes that kind of draw people away from wanting to join the military, because they think that it's always going to be yelling in your face all the time throughout your military career. And but what basic training is it's just a builder. We break you down to build you right back up. And then you build these families, and you build these camaraderies for you to go to be successful later on in your career. So I want to say, just working with you there was such a unique experience for me, coming from the other side. Most people don't have that opportunity, to come on that side of things and see it on in that perspective. Most people just go to basic training and then go to go all over the world, PCS and things like that. But I had the unique opportunity of working in the basic training unit, where the days were long. The days were extremely long.
Yes, they were.
The hours, the wake up times were early, but every time we woke up, you woke up. You were there. We were up 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. You were up 4 o'clock in the morning. And I explained that earlier when I introduced you. You were always there. When it came to the marches, when it came to the I forgot the last march that we do. Oh, also, guys, I want to tell you this. Colonel Gries taught me how to start fires. I know that sounds crazy, but I had this job as I was supply, so pretty much anything the drill sergeants needed, anything the soldiers needed, I was there to ensure that the mission went smoothly as possible, making sure everyone had everything they needed. But also, we used to do this. I forgot what that was called. I'm blanking
Right,
out.
it was the rite of passage
The
ceremony.
rite of passage, and this is the very, very last march that the soldier, the longest one, mile march as well. But when they're coming in, we set up these pallets and like as high as they can go safely, of course. And we have to light them up for the soldiers to come and rejoice and feel accomplished. And we always play the Eye of the Tiger song while they're marching in. Colonel Gries is always there. He's there to help. Now, mind you, these are usually
Sergeant Major Hall, he
oh,
loved Eye of the Tiger. That
oh,
was all him. Not that I didn't like the song, I did, but Sergeant Major Hall, that was his favorite. So
we
we
had
always
to
had to
play
play
it.
that one.
We had to. That was our main theme song every time. I don't think it changed for a while. But it was a great song indeed. But we would have to, I would have to get these pallets, at least maybe like 40 pallets to stack. And then we would have to light them just in time for the soldiers to come. So this involved waking up or actually setting up at 4:00, 4:00 in the morning, because that's the time the soldiers usually come. But I didn't know how to start a freaking fire. I'm a Miami girl, and I've been in training, but I never had to start a fire. So Colonel Gries taught me this trick where, we always had our Perel sanitizer, and you just put the sanitizer on the pallets and you just light it like that, or, and stuff the tissue for the oxygen to breathe. That may sound easy to some of you, but for me, that was a new thing for me. And I still recall you teaching me that. And I still use it. I find myself every time I want to show someone how to start like a barbecue fire or a s'mores. I did s'mores with my niece and nephew, and I did the same technique. I'm like, look, move over. I'm an expert at this.
Look what I learned in the Army.
Right. Out of all
Firebug.
this is the biggest takeaway. So yeah, so guys, this is basically the history with Colonel Gries. And like I said earlier, he was an outstanding leader, stern, strict, but very welcoming, very personal. He was always down to earth, but he got the job done in a great way. And I know you still have those great skills as a leader, if not just as great as they were in Fort Leonard Wood. So just to talk about a little more of your military experience, once you became an officer, you left Michigan, and then what was your next place?
So I needed to do some infantry training down at Fort Benning, so I did that. Went down there with a bunch of other second lieutenants, and it was a good course. Back then it was called the Infantry Officer Basic Course. It's called something different now. But it was a 4-month long school, and we probably spent 1 week in the field, 1 week in the classroom, a week in the field. So about 2 months of field time in that school. So it was pretty good. Then after that, I went to the Bradley Leader course for Bradley fighting vehicles, and that was great. And then I went off to Germany, and I served over there for a few years. And I had what is still my favorite assignment. 148 Infantry at Leonard Wood is a close number 2. Okay. Don't get me wrong. But I was in 1-4 Infantry. We were OP4. We were the opposing forces battalion in Europe. And everybody has heard of the opposing forces at Fort Irwin in California and the opposing forces at Fort Polk, but we did a similar job. And we wore black uniforms and used Russian tactics, and we were constantly doing war games. And sometimes we'd get unit after unit after unit coming in, and there was times where we would go 4 months straight without a day off.
Wow.
Constantly. And nobody complained because we loved it. It was one of the best assignments ever.
And just to give people a little outlook of what ops is, because some people may not know, the other unit is real-time training. It's still real-time training. It's not, it's not a joke, guys. It's not like fun, it's fun, to do it, but it's actually real training, where he was on the opposite side, being that force on the opposite side, but the units were actually training and getting that specific training from those guys in Germany. So
we were the bad guys.
Oh, I didn't want to say that, but
we were the bad guys, and it was basically laser tag with tanks.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and it was fun.
I was in Germany as well. I was in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm not sure how far that is from where you were, but that was my favorite. That's still number one for me. Germany overall is my favorite duty station as
Yeah,
well.
Germany was great. Um, uh, Very fortunate to have had the opportunity to serve there.
And you did do some time in Korea as well. Was that after right after Germany?
Yeah, a little bit later. So I finished up in Germany, and then I got promoted to captain, and then I went back down to Fort Benning to get some more infantry training, the infantry officer advanced course at that time. Then yeah, I volunteered to go to Korea because I wanted to go see the world, and I hadn't been to Asia yet at that time. So I went, spent several years over there as well. And, that was a tremendous experience too. Really fortunate to have had the opportunity.
Nice, nice. And with all of this training, because it seems like you're constantly doing training and moving all over, just like every other soldier. But with these trainings, what would you say was the most thing you took from these experiences within the military from now on, even from your time now? What is the best thing that you can give the people that you take away from all of this?
I would say that our training events are the greatest leadership laboratories in existence. That's where you learn to lead.
Mhm.
You go to the field, you're put under tremendous stress, pressure. The conditions, mentally, physically, are very tough. I mean, you're going into the field, you're sleeping in the snow, maybe a couple hours a night, maybe. You're going at it like this for days or weeks on end. Nobody's washing. Might be doing this in a summer in Korea where it's super hot and humid in the monsoon season, or you can be doing it in the snow in Germany. Um, and throughout all of it, when you have people in your charge, you have to lead by example. And as miserable and as tired and wet and hungry as you are, you always have to be the first one up. You have to be the first one shaved. You have to be the first one ready to move out with all your kit packed up, ready to go. And you have to make sure that everybody is getting what they need. The old saying is the men, the mission, and me, in that order. You know, the men come first. And by men, I mean soldiers,
Yes.
men and women, of course.
Mhm.
But you take care of your soldiers first, and then you get after the mission, and then you look after yourself last. And that's powerful stuff, and you learn it in those tough conditions. That would probably be my biggest takeaway from all the training.
You actually feel differently, which is crazy because most people, they'll say, "Oh, I hate the field. I hate going out there. Oh man, another field exercise." They gripe and they complain, but again, I know from personal experience when I would go to the field, it was actually the best experiences because like you said, it's right then and there. It's like you're building up so much of these skills, but with other people. You're not alone in no one's alone in this. And I think for me, that's one of the powerful aspects of when we go out to the field because it's like you bond these bonds that you're creating become even closer, stronger in the field and downrange as well. While you're back in the company, everybody is so focused on doing their job, things like that. But when it comes to the field, it's just like we're together. We're sleeping right on top of each other, pretty much right close to each other. I remember in Germany, we had the stars as our blankets. We slept underneath the stars with no tents, just the cots and things like that outside. So it sounds like something so tough, but it's a beauty in that. Definitely a beauty in that. And that's where that family dynamic starts to happen as well, and those bonds are created.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. I would underscore your point about the teamwork aspect of it.
Mhm.
None of these things is possible by conducted by individuals or groups of individuals. All these things that we do require teams,
Mhm.
require everybody to work with each other. Um, and under those tough conditions, that's when teams really start to gel. And people learn how to be team members, or it's not just about leading teams, it's about being a member of a team as well. And you're right, all those things come out and people become better at it, a lot better.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting when you get a group of military people or former military people together and you give them a task, how quickly they they organize themselves, they figure it out, and they deal with it.
Absolutely.
They get the job done. And that comes from that sort of training and experience.
Absolutely. And to segue on that aspect of, former military and military being able to just adapt to those type of situations and scenarios, I wanted to ask, okay, you said 31 years and counting, right?
That's right.
You could have gotten out a long time ago.
I could have.
What made you stay? What are the reasons why you're staying in?
I love working with soldiers and other service members. They're a special breed and highly professional. The lifestyle can be tough, and there's lots of privations, but at the end of the day, it's rewarding. There's purpose to it, and the people you work with are the absolute best, and that's why I stay. And that's why I'm going to stay as long as they let me until they kick me out.
Or they kick you out, right? Like, okay, sir, you have to go.
That's right.
That's amazing. Well, I wanted to also ask you personally, with all of these trainings, with all of this, and then you have your family and, keeping that family tight and your children and everything's like that. What do you do for self-care, if anything, or what do you do for fun to keep you going, to keep you energized, to keep you charged up?
Yeah. So, over the years, you take advantage of opportunities to have hobbies. There has to be balance in your life. You can't just be all work. So lately, I started taking up writing. Yeah. And my wife looked at me about a year ago and said, "You really need to get a hobby. It's, you go to work and then you come home and then I got to put up with you." So I picked up my laptop and I started writing and started doing something I'd been thinking about doing since I was a teenager and writing science fiction novels. And so I started doing that, and a publisher liked what they saw and signed me a contract about 7 or 8 months ago. And
Wow.
My debut novel just came out a couple weeks ago.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Okay, wait, let's peel back a bit. So for the very first time, is this your first time writing, or were you interested in the past with writing?
I dabbled with it in the past, but never really took it serious while I was in the Army. I did make an attempt at getting something published about 20 years ago, and it didn't sort of work out. And I kind of said, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And like I said, my wife kind of pushed me towards doing something constructive. And one of my friends, my old college roommate, as a matter of fact, he was publishing novels himself, and he told me to stop talking about writing and start writing. So I needed that little nudge. And hey, Doug, if you're watching this, thanks.
Doug, is you're the reason. You're the reason. Okay, well, let's talk about this book. That sounds pretty amazing. One, to back up the hobby and have this remarkable end result. Not saying that you were always looking for an end result, but if you were, you got this end result and you have an official published novel.
Right.
Let's talk about that novel. I would love to segue into that. What's the concept? What's the content? What was your idea behind it? What is that about? What's the name of it?
So the name of it is From the Ashes of a Dead World, and it is military science fiction / space opera. And what that means is it's a little lighter on the science and a little more on character development, character-driven story.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up so the people can have a reference. Actually, let me put up the cover while you talk more about this, if that's okay.
Sure thing.
All right. So guys, this is the cover, and Colonel Gries, you can finish off. Okay, so it's called From the Ashes of a Dead World. Okay.
Yep. And it's the first in a 3-part series, so it's going to be a trilogy.
Cool.
The first book just came out. I've already finished writing the second book, and I'm halfway done with the third. So they're definitely coming. There's no aliens in this. It's just people in the far future. There's intergalactic, or actually interstellar war going on between two empires. One wins, one loses. The survivors from the losing side pack up as much people and equipment as they can, and they go running off into the stars, basically looking for sanctuary somewhere. They know of a couple of options. None of them are good. They decide to go to a world that used to be inhabited by people, but all the people were killed off in an ancient war. They said, okay, we're going to make this home. They have to go 5 years in these ships that were never designed to go that long without maintenance and resupply, and a lot of tough choices are made so that some of them can make it. And then when they show up to the planet, they find out, hey, there's 2 billion people already living here, and they have 1950s level technology. They've got airplanes with propellers and automobiles and things like that. Nice. So at the end of the book, towards the end of the book, the big decision is made. Hey, are we going to peacefully coexist with them and settle down here, or are we going to take this place over because they're a bunch of primitives? And that's when it comes down to. I'm not going to give away the end.
Yes. That is a great gist, and that's very interesting. I absolutely love the concept, and this, first of all, this cover is absolutely striking. It reminds me of comic book style a little bit.
Yeah, it's really neat. I wish I knew who the artist is so I could thank him. So I had a concept in mind for the cover, and I pitched it at my editor, and because usually when you see science fiction novels, they got a picture of a big bulky spaceship on it, and it looks really, really kind of lame. And I didn't want a picture of a spaceship on the cover of my book. I wanted people on it. And I kind of described the characters and how I wanted them on the cover. And the artist came back and said, hey, that's a great concept. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And then didn't at all. And did this one instead. But I think this looks really great. I think they knocked it out of the park. And I appreciate the effort they did on it. It's really cool.
I love the color. I love the interaction that you get. Just is drawing. It makes you want to look deeper into the bottom and what exactly the ships contain and everything like that. This is pretty amazing. This is great.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Nice.
My publisher will tell you that the cover art is pretty critical. If you don't have a good cover, it's one of the hooks, right?
Oh yeah.
So you have to have what's called cover copy, which is a brief description and brief synopsis of the book, and that goes on the back. That needs to be a good hook. You got to have nice art on the cover. That's another hook. You got to get people interested in picking it up.
Absolutely. We see with our visually, we're visual seekers, so it's that one thing, before even reading the title, the person is going to automatically look at the art, on the cover. I also did graphic design, so some of the assignments included things like that, designing book covers, and so much of it would get kicked back because it wasn't drawing enough. It didn't really want to make the reader pick it up and say, oh, wow, what's this? So that artist did a great job at that. So thank you, artist.
Wherever you are. Thanks a lot.
Nice.
Because it looks great.
It does. And then I think you mentioned your daughter. Does she do any art?
Yeah, actually, she was the one that helped me with the concept sketch to give to the cover artist. And she did an initial cut on one. Looked really good. She's not professional, of course, but she's pretty good. So that's who initially did my concept sketch, if you will.
Nice. You had to present that to the editor.
I did. I sent that in, and they're like, "Okay, it looks pretty interesting. We'll see where we go." And
yeah,
They went in a different direction. They went in a different artistic direction. I think they did a great job, so I'm not complaining at all.
That's amazing. Oh, well, congratulations on that. That's a huge deal, to get something published. And I'm pretty sure the work in the ins and out of that and going back and forth with the editors, back and forth with the publishers, tweaking the book, editing it, and things like that was pretty probably like a long process as well. But nevertheless, it's published. And where can the people buy the book?
So you can go on Amazon.com. It's available either in paperback or Kindle ebook.
Nice.
And then you can also get it directly from the publisher, just ebooks from them at ringoffirepress.com.
Awesome. Okay, guys, and I'm going to also leave that at the bottom for you guys, just in case you guys forget that. I'm going to leave the links at the bottom so you can easily go directly to the link if you are interested in reading Shane Greed's amazing novel, his first novel. And like he said, there's it's a 3 series, so be on the lookout for 2 and 3 soon. So congratulations on that, sir. And that's amazing, because like you said, while you're in the military, it's great to find that balance. It's easier said than done, of course. Sometimes people get so caught up in the work where they just become the work, and that's about it. So for you to find that and for you to hone on to that skill and to bring it back and say, wow, I want to do this, this is something that I think I can do, and to actually further it and get it published and see that outcome, it's a rewarding and amazing thing. So
it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of learning
mm-hmm.
because I didn't know anything about the publishing industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know anything about writing stories. There's a lot to know. So it's been really, really fun, this journey of learning
Mm-hmm.
And figuring out how the craft works, how the industry works, and just navigating through all of that. It's been really interesting.
That's absolutely amazing. And talking about learning new things, I do have one question that I usually ask. Usually it's the last question I ask my speakers before we go. And that question is basically, I'm pretty sure I'm in the works of, as a graduate student, I'm taking my degree in art therapy. Super excited. Absolutely. It's just been such a great journey. I'm learning so much, and I'm just ready to take it back to the veterans, our community, because it's just another way, one, for me to give back to the people I personally, can relate to, I personally care about, that's near and dear to my heart. Now, the question I have for you is, one, do you know anything about art therapy, or do you have any pre-notions of it? That's the first question. And if you do, what was your first opinions on art therapy? Or what do you believe art therapy is?
So I'm not overly familiar with it. That's the first thing. I think conceptually, it's a means of healing for those that are hurting on the inside or are dealing with PTSD issues. If I'm getting this wrong, please.
There's no wrong answer. It's your opinion.
So in my mind, art therapy is using art as a tool, as a medium to help people heal. And I've seen some other companies and volunteer organizations out there that are oriented to do the same sorts of things. When I was in Australia for the Australian War College, one of my classmates, he was assisting with this ranch that helped out veterans. They taught them how to horseback ride. They would take them out days on end, taking care of the horses, all these things. And it was therapeutic. And it was really helping a lot of veterans out. Because the Australians, they deployed with us and have fought alongside us. And so they have a pretty healthy sized veteran community, just like we do. And they are wrestling with the same issues that our veteran community does.
Absolutely.
So that was sort of my first exposure to that sort of thing.
Yes.
Horseback riding is not necessarily art, but it's a means of therapy.
Absolutely. Therapeutic horsemanship need another tool. You hit it spot on. It's exactly what it is. It's a tool, another option for veterans, and not just veterans. Actually, you have many art therapists that works with active duty soldiers as well. And I plan to do that too. If you want, sir, if you're interested, there's an amazing TED talk by an amazing art therapist named Melissa Walker.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you heard of it, but I'll send you the link. I would like for you
Please
to
do.
watch that. Yes. So sorry. I, I would love for you to watch that. And pretty much she she worked in with active duty military dealing with PTSD, and where she created these masks as a directive of art experimental. And I'll tell you, I'll send you the link so you can learn more about it. But it's definitely exactly what it is. It's a tool to use for healing besides medicine. And it actually it's not besides medicine. It can either be with medicine or an opportunity that veterans should have access to. And raising awareness on it, because I feel like it's imperative for our community to understand that there's other opportunities as well, rather than pills and pharmaceuticals and things like that. So with that, it's so powerful. Um, to be able to, one, not always have to talk about these things, because it's not easy talking about some of these traumas and some of these issues that people are dealing with. And it's not just for PTSD, it ranges from anything, ranges from depression, ranges from anxiety, suicide ideology, schizophrenia, ADHD, everything that you can think of, but as far as the soldiers, it's not only geared towards individuals battling PTSD, but my particular population is definitely the veteran community. So with art therapy, it's not like a just the arts and crafts things that you do, because it is very powerful. With that too, a brush is just as powerful too. It's weird that I happen to just have a brush laying right here. See that? Just right here on my table, like that's an artist for you, I guess. Instead of having spoons and forks on the table, I have paintbrushes and paint. But so yeah, it is a great tool and a great option for those to have. So you are absolutely spot on with your assumption. But it gets deeper into that. And basically, just so that this is out here, I would love for you to tell more veterans that this is an option, because when you're transitioning, most people try to stray away from anything dealing with the military when they come out. They're like, you know what, I'm done. I'm trying to start this new life. I'm trying to adapt to the civilian role. And I can say I was one of those. It was actually extremely hard and difficult to adapt once I got out. And I remember one thing you said to me while we were eating in the chow hall. We were eating in chow hall, and I was just about to head out to I was ETSing, and you said, Sergeant Woods, you're going to be ready, but you're going to be more advanced. I think it was something of the nature of, you're going to notice the difference. You're going to notice how you are amongst your peers. And I'm just like, it's the civilian role. Everybody's, have this knowledge. Everybody, have these qualities and things like that. Absolutely, exactly what you said. I felt so different, and it did take me quite some time, and still adapting now to the civilian sector, and just trying to fit in within the culture of the civilian. But with that, this is my way of doing that. Still having the camaraderie, and still having the relationships with my people. Is truly
You're
important.
still part of the family, clearly.
Well, thank you, Juan, for even trusting me and allowing me to welcome you to this space. Again, this is just up and starting. This is something new. I just wanted to give people an outlook of my journey, along with introducing real life people, real life soldiers like yourself, real life leaders, and real life veterans that actually have been through these experiences, and how using any forms of art, whether it's writing, whether it's poetry, whether it's paint, to get through the day. And like you said, finding that balance and finding that hobby while you're in doing all of this is extremely important. So I definitely want to say thank you so much for your time today. And if there's anything you want to say, last words for the people, and the floor is yours now.
Well, I thank you for having me on the channel. This is really great. This is a really special experience for me, and I appreciate the opportunity. And thanks for letting me plug my book. I need all the help I can get.
Of course, that's what
Um,
we're here for.
yeah, but I appreciate you, Nikki, still being part of the community, being part of the family, and supporting my family, the Army family, and by extension, the rest of the services.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for what you do and what you're going to continue to do.
Thank you so much, sir. And I wish you all the best throughout your umpteen years. I don't know when you're stopping, but I'm pretty sure I would know. So maybe when the third book is released. Maybe.
Maybe.
But thank you so much for being just an outstanding leader, and such a great person to serve underneath and to work with. You have no idea how much you have inspired me. Honestly, I paid attention to your skills, and I paid attention, just overall, the way you move through missions, the way you tackle them, and it stuck with me, and it still sticks with me to this day. The words you said, they're here, they're ingrained. So I want to say I really appreciate those words of encouragement, those words of wisdom. It matters. It makes a difference, sir. So please be safe. Continue to write, continue to write, and find that balance and gain that balance. And I'm still here as long as I can be here. So if you ever need me for anything, or if you ever need some therapy, once I get licensed, once I get licensed.
I know who I'll call first.
Absolutely. So again, thanks, sir. And guys, without further ado, we have Shane Gries. So it's been a pleasure having you on the show, sir. And we'll catch up again soon.
All right. Thanks again.
Take care, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.